My name is Briella. I am 29 years old. I never thought one job could change my life, but it did. I lived in a small town with my parents. Life was simple. Every day looked the same. I helped my mother with cooking, I watched TV with my father, and sometimes I met my friends. But I felt stuck. I wanted something different. I wanted to grow. I just didn't know how. One afternoon, I saw a job post online. It said, "Looking for a live-in hotel assistant. Must move to the city. Full training included." I read the post again and again. I had never worked in a hotel. I had never lived away from home. I had never stayed in the city. But something inside me said, "Try." I showed the post to my mother. She looked worried. "You will be alone," she said. "You don't know the city." I stayed quiet. I didn't know what to say. Then my father came and read the post. He looked at me. "Maybe this is your chance," he said. "You will never grow if you stay in one place." That night, I sat at the table with my laptop. My hands were shaking. I filled the form. I clicked send. I felt scared, but also proud. I had done it. The next day, I got a call. A woman said, "Hello, is this Briella?" I said yes. "This is Tanya from Rose Hill Hotel. We liked your application. Can you come for an interview tomorrow?" My heart was beating fast. I said yes. The next morning, I took the early bus to the city. I wore my best dress and my mother's brown purse. The city was loud. The people were fast. The hotel was big and white. The lights were gold. The floor had red carpet. I felt small. I had never seen a place like that. At the front desk, a woman stood. She had short black hair. Her face was serious. "You must be Briella," she said. "Yes," I said. "Come with me," she said. She walked fast. I followed her to a small office. She sat behind a desk. "Have you worked in a hotel before?" she asked. "No," I said, "but I learned fast." She looked at me for a moment. "This job is not easy," she said. "You will clean rooms. You will carry things. Some guests are kind. Some are not. You will live in a small staff room. Are you ready for that?" I looked down. I felt nervous, but I said, "Yes, I want to try." She nodded. "Good. You start on Monday. Come early." That night, I went home. My mother was quiet. My father smiled. I said, "I got the job." My mother hugged me. "Be careful," she said. My father said, "Be strong. Call us every day." On Monday morning, I packed my bag. I took my clothes, my toothbrush, and a photo of my parents. I kissed my mother. I hugged my father. Then I got on the bus. I watched the trees pass by. I was not coming back soon. At the hotel, I got a small room. It was on the 4th floor. The walls were white. The room had one bed, one table, and one mirror. There was one small window. I sat on the bed. I looked around. It was quiet. I felt alone. Miss Tanya gave me a black uniform. She gave me a list of jobs. You will help with breakfast in the morning. You will clean rooms. You will carry laundry. You will take night shifts sometimes. Follow the rules. No phones during work. Always smile. Do you understand? I said yes. The next morning, I woke up at 5. I put on the uniform. I looked in the mirror. I looked like a hotel worker. I didn't feel ready, but I went downstairs. I helped with breakfast. I carried plates. I cleaned tables. Then I cleaned the rooms. I made beds. I picked up towels. I scrubbed the bathroom floor. I was tired. My arms hurt. My legs hurt. But I kept going. Some guests were kind. Some said nothing. Some left big messes. One man shouted at me because his towel was missing. I said sorry. I brought him a new one. He did not say thank you. After 3 days, I felt very tired. I went to Tanya's office. Can I talk to you? I asked. She looked at me. Yes, she said. This job is hard, I said. I feel tired all the time. She looked at me for a moment. Do you want to leave? She asked. I was quiet. Then I said, no. I just wanted you to know. She nodded. It is hard at first, she said. But if you stay, you will grow. Not just in your work. You will grow in your heart. I walked out. Her words stayed with me. The next day, I tried harder. I moved faster. I cleaned better. I started to notice small things. I learned to fold towels in the right way. I learned how to speak nicely to guests, even when I was tired. I started to feel proud. One morning, I met another worker. She was in the kitchen. Hi, she said. I'm Lena. I'm Briella, I said. She smiled. Briella and Lena, we sound like sisters. I laughed. It was the first time I laughed in days. Lena and I worked together in the mornings. She cooked. I helped carry the food. She told me stories about her life. She had moved to the city 10 years ago. I was scared too, she said. I cried the first week, but I stayed. Now I like my job. You will like it too. I was happy to talk to her. She made me feel better. I didn't feel so alone anymore. That week, I had my first night shift. The hotel was quiet. I sat at the front desk. The lights were soft. I looked at the big front door. Outside, the street was empty. At 2 a.m, a man came in. He looked angry. My wife locked me out, he said. I need a key. I looked at the list. Room 304? I asked. Yes, he said. I gave him the key. He took it and walked away. He didn't say thank you. I sat down again. I looked at my phone. My mother sent a message. Good night, Briella. We love you. I smiled. My eyes felt warm. I missed home. I missed my parents. But I also felt something else. I was not the same Briella. I was changing. Slowly. Quietly. I was becoming someone new. And this was just the beginning. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. The days at the hotel passed slowly. Every morning, I woke up early. I put on my uniform. I brushed my hair. I looked in the mirror. I still felt tired, but I also felt different. I was starting to change. I was starting to grow. I worked hard every day. I cleaned rooms. I helped in the kitchen. I carried heavy laundry bags. My arms were stronger now. I could carry more. I could walk faster. My hands moved quickly when I made beds. The first week, I was always afraid. Now, I felt more sure of myself. Lena and I became good friends. We worked together most mornings. After work, we sometimes sat in the small staff room and talked. She told me about her family. I told her about my parents and my town. She listened to me with care. Her smile made me feel safe. You are doing well, Lena said one evening. I see the way you work. You are fast. You are polite. And you are strong. I smiled. Thank you, I said. I try my best. Sometimes guests left kind notes. One woman wrote, Thank you, Briella. The room was perfect. She left a small chocolate on the table. Another guest said, You have a nice smile. These little things made me happy. They gave me hope. But not all days were good. One day, a man shouted at me in the hallway. He said his room was dirty. He said I didn't do my job. I knew I cleaned that room well. I wanted to cry, but I said, I'm sorry. I will clean it again. I walked into the room. I looked at the bed, the floor, the bathroom. Everything was clean. I didn't understand. Lena saw me later. She asked, What happened? I told her. She said, Some people are angry for no reason. You did nothing wrong. Don't let one person ruin your day. I nodded. Her words helped me. Miss Tanya also noticed me. She didn't smile much, but she started to speak to me more. One day she said, You are improving. You are quiet, but you do your work. I like that. I was surprised. Thank you, I said. It felt good to hear that. A few weeks later, she gave me a new job. I want you to help at the front desk on weekends, she said. You will check in guests. You will answer phones. Lena will teach you. I was nervous. I didn't know how to use the computer system. I didn't know how to speak to guests in the right way. But Lena helped me. She showed me how to check bookings. She helped me practice answers. She told me to speak slowly, to smile, and to stay calm. The first weekend was hard. One guest came early and shouted because his room was not ready. I said, "I'm sorry. The room is not clean yet. You can wait in the lounge." He looked angry, but after 10 minutes the room was ready. He left without a word. I didn't cry. I was proud of that. Another guest asked many questions. He wanted maps, restaurant names, a place to buy shoes. I smiled and helped him. Later he said, "Thank you. You are very helpful." That made me happy. Working at the desk helped me grow. I talked to more people. I learned to stay calm when guests were upset. I learned to fix problems fast. I also started to speak better English. My words were more clear. I made fewer mistakes. I felt stronger. One evening, I was walking to my room after work. My phone buzzed. It was a photo from my father. He sent a picture of our dog sleeping. Under the photo, he wrote, "She misses you." I smiled. I missed them too. I sent back a message. "Tell her I miss her. Tell Mom I love her. I'm doing okay." I put my phone down and looked out the window. The streetlights were on. People walked past the hotel. I watched them from above. I used to be scared of the city. I used to think I didn't belong here. But now, the city felt different. The hotel was my new home. The small room was mine. The job was mine. I had built something for myself. The next day was busy. Many guests came. Some had big bags. Some had children. Some were quiet. Some were loud. I smiled at each one. I helped them all. Tanya passed by the desk. She stopped and said, "Good work today, Briella." That small sentence made my whole day better. Later, Lena and I sat on the back steps. We ate some rice and vegetables from the kitchen. "Do you miss your home?" she asked. I looked at her. Yes. I miss my parents. I miss my bed. I miss the trees in our garden. She smiled. "But?" she asked. "But I don't want to go back yet," I said. "I feel like I am growing here. I feel stronger. I feel like I'm becoming myself." Lena looked at me and said, "That's what a good job does. It doesn't just give you money. It helps you know who you are." Her words touched my heart. That weekend, I worked another night shift. At 3 a.m., a guest came in. She was crying. Her eyes were red. She looked lost. "Can I help you?" I asked. "I can't find my room," she said. "I went out. I drank too much. I don't know where to go." I checked her name. I found her room. "Come with me," I said. I walked her to her door. She looked at me and said, "You are kind." "Thank you," I said. "Please drink water." "Get some sleep." She smiled. "You remind me of my sister," she said. I smiled back. "Good night." When I walked back to the desk, I sat down and felt something warm in my heart. I had helped someone. I had stayed calm. I had done the right thing. I looked at the clock. I had 1 hour left before morning. I looked at my hands. They were tired. I looked at my uniform. It had a small stain from the kitchen, but I felt proud. I was working. I was learning. I was becoming the person I wanted to be. And I still had more to learn. One morning, I woke up before the alarm. The sky outside was still dark, but I was not tired. I sat up in bed and looked around my little room. It was quiet. It was simple, but it felt like mine. I had lived in the hotel for 3 months now. Every week, I got better at my job. I knew which rooms needed extra towels. I knew which guests liked tea in the morning. I remembered names. I remembered faces. I had a good rhythm. One day, Tanya called me to her office. I felt nervous. I thought maybe I did something wrong. I walked in and stood in front of her desk. She looked at me and said, "I have something to tell you. A guest left a letter. It was for you." I was surprised. "For me?" I asked. She handed me the letter. It was small and folded. I opened it. The paper was soft. The writing was clear. It said, "Dear Briella, thank you for your help last week. I was tired. I was sad. But your smile gave me peace. You made my stay better. You are very special. Never forget that." A guest. I looked at the letter. I read it again. Then again. I didn't know who wrote it, but it made me cry. Tanya saw my face. She said, "You are good at this job. That letter proves it." "Thank you," I whispered. That night, I held the letter in my hands. I read it before bed. I put it in my drawer. It made me feel proud. It made me feel seen. The next week, something else happened. Lena came to the kitchen late. She looked weak. Her hands were shaking. "Are you okay?" I asked. "I don't feel well," she said. Tanya told her to rest for 2 days. "Briella, can you help in the kitchen until Lena comes back?" she asked. "Yes," I said. The next morning, I woke up earlier. I went to the kitchen and looked at the list. Eggs, toast, juice, coffee. I had watched Lena many times, but I had never done it alone. I turned on the stove. I cracked the eggs. I made toast. I poured orange juice into glasses. It was not perfect, but it was good. Guests came. They ate quietly. No one complained. After breakfast, Tanya came to see me. "Everything went well," she said. "Good job." I smiled. I felt so proud. I had done something new. I had done it by myself. That evening, I called my mother. I told her about the letter. I told her about the breakfast shift. "I'm proud of you," she said. "You are stronger now. I can hear it in your voice." "Thank you," I said. "I feel different." Later, I walked outside and sat on the hotel steps. The air was warm. The sky was soft and orange. I watched people walk by. I remembered the girl I was before. I remembered how scared I felt on my first day. I smiled to myself. A few days later, Lena came back. She looked better. "I heard you did well," she said. "Thank you for helping." "You're welcome," I said. "I missed working with you." She laughed. "I missed you too." Time passed. The seasons started to change. It rained more. The wind was colder. But inside the hotel, I felt warm. I was not the girl who cried after work. I was not the girl who said sorry all the time. I was still kind, but I was not afraid anymore. I even started helping new staff. One girl named Mia joined us. She was shy. She made mistakes. She cried on her second day. I sat with her after work. I said, "It's okay. I cried too. But you will get better. Just stay strong." She looked at me with wide eyes. "You cried too?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "But I stayed." She smiled a little. "I will try." I realized something that day. I was not just learning. I was helping others grow too. That felt special. Then one day, I got a call. It was from a small hotel near my hometown. The manager said, "Tanya told me about you. We need someone to lead our staff. Are you interested?" My heart beat fast. A lead job? Near home? I didn't know what to say. That night I sat with Tanya in her office. I told her about the call. She looked at me. "Do you want to go back?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "This place changed me. I love it here. But I also want to be closer to my parents. And the job sounds good." She was quiet. Then she said, "You are ready, Briella. I've seen you grow. You can do this." I felt tears in my eyes. "Thank you," I said. The next week, I packed my things. I folded my uniform one last time. I took one last walk through the hotel halls. I hugged Lena. She held me tight. "I'll miss you," she said. "Come visit me." "I will," I said. Before I left, Tanya gave me something. It was a small card. On it, she had written one sentence. "You didn't just work here. You became who you are here. I smiled. I said goodbye. I got on the bus, just like the first time. But this time, I was not scared. I looked out the window. I felt ready. I was going home. But I was not the same person anymore. We all go through hard times. But stories like this can help us feel seen. Thank you for watching, and come back for more real moments. My name is Emma. I am 28 years old. I live in a small town. I work in a local office. It is not a big job, but I like it. I live alone in a small flat. My parents live 2 streets away. I visit them every Sunday. Life was quiet. I was not rich, but I was happy. One day, I met a man named Daniel. He came to the office for a meeting. He was not from our town. He lived in the city. He wore a black suit and a watch that looked expensive. He looked serious, but he smiled at me when I gave him his papers. His smile made me feel shy. I did not know why. I was not the kind of girl who fell in love quickly. The next day, Daniel came again. He said he forgot something at the office. But I think he just wanted to talk. He asked me about the town, about where I liked to eat, and if I liked the park. I laughed and said yes. He was kind. He was smart. I liked talking to him. After a few days, he asked if I wanted to have coffee. I said yes. We met at the small cafe near the office. We talked for 2 hours. It felt easy. I felt safe with him. We met again the next day. And the next. Soon, we met almost every day. My parents liked him too. My mother said, "He looks like a man who knows what he wants." She smiled when she said it. I smiled too. I thought I was lucky. I thought maybe he was the one. After 2 months, Daniel asked me to be his girlfriend. I was so happy. He sent flowers to my work. He held my hand when we walked in the park. He told me I was beautiful. No one had ever said that to me in such a soft voice before. I believed him. I gave him all my heart. I didn't keep anything back. 3 months later, Daniel said, "Emma, will you marry me?" My hands started to shake. I smiled. "Yes," I said. I was not ready to be a wife, but I didn't want to lose him. I loved him. I thought he loved me too. The wedding was fast. We planned everything in 3 weeks. Daniel said he didn't want a big wedding. He said he wanted it to be simple. I agreed. Only my parents and 2 of my friends came. His parents did not come. I asked him why. He said, "They live far away. They don't like travel." I felt sad but did not ask more. After the wedding, we moved to the city. I left my job and my town. I left my parents. I left everything I knew. I wanted to start a new life with Daniel. I thought we would be happy. At first, everything looked fine. Daniel went to work early. He came home late. I cooked dinner. I cleaned the flat. I waited for him every evening. He talked to me, but not much. He didn't smile like before. He didn't bring flowers anymore. When I asked how his day was, he said, "Tired. That's all." Weeks passed, then months. I still didn't meet his parents. I didn't meet his friends. I didn't know anything about his past. When I asked, he said, "Not important." His voice was cold. His eyes looked away. I felt confused, but I stayed quiet. I wanted to be a good wife. One night, Daniel came home angry. I didn't know why. I asked, "What happened?" He looked at me with eyes I didn't know. "Don't ask stupid questions," he said. I felt small. I said nothing after that. He went into the bedroom and closed the door. After that night, things changed. He was not kind anymore. He spoke little. He didn't laugh. He didn't look at me the same way. I tried to be calm. I cooked his favorite food. I cleaned the flat well. I waited. I hoped he would change. One weekend, he said he had to go on a work trip. He packed fast and left. I stayed alone for 3 days. When he came back, he didn't kiss me. He didn't say he missed me. I asked if everything was okay. He looked at me and said, "You don't need to know." I started to feel like I was not part of his life. I didn't know what was wrong. I thought maybe I did something bad. I tried to talk to him. "Daniel, do you still love me?" I asked. He looked at me and laughed. Not a happy laugh. A cold one. "You think this is love?" he said. I didn't know what he meant. That night I could not sleep. I looked at the man next to me and felt like I didn't know him. He was not the man who smiled at me in the office. He was not the man who held my hand in the park. He was not the man who asked me to marry him. This man was cold, quiet, distant, and maybe even angry. One day when he was at work, I opened the small cupboard in his study. I was looking for paper. I found a box. Inside the box were some old photos. Daniel was in the photos. But there was a girl too. She had long dark hair and a bright smile. They looked happy together. Very happy. My hands started to shake. I turned the photo over. There was a name. Mia. 2019. I didn't know who she was. I had never heard that name before. But I knew it meant something. Maybe everything. That night I asked him about the girl. "Who is Mia?" I said. He stopped eating. He looked up slowly. His face was hard. "Where did you hear that name?" he asked. I said I saw her picture in the cupboard. He stood up. "Don't touch my things," he said. Then he walked out of the room. I sat at the table alone. My food was cold. My heart felt confused. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what, but I could feel it now. He was hiding something. And maybe Maybe this whole marriage was not what I thought it was. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. I could not sleep that night. I kept thinking about the girl in the photo. Her name was Mia. She was smiling with Daniel. Her face was close to his. They looked happy, like a couple in love. But why had he never told me about her? Who was she to him? A friend? A girlfriend? A past love? Or something more? The next morning, Daniel acted like nothing happened. He drank his coffee and left for work. I stood by the window and watched him walk away. He didn't look back. I felt like I was living with a stranger, a man I thought I knew. But now, I wasn't sure who he really was. I couldn't stop thinking about the photo. I wanted answers. I needed to understand. So that day, I called my friend Sophie. She lived in the city. I hadn't seen her in a while. I said, "Sophie, can we meet?" She said yes. We met at a small cafe near her house. When we sat down, I looked at her face. I felt like crying. I didn't know what to say. Sophie held my hand and said, "Emma, what's wrong?" I took a deep breath. Then I told her everything about Daniel, about how he changed, about the photo, about Mia. Sophie listened to me. Then she said something strange. "Emma, I think I know that name. Mia." I looked at her. "Really?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "There was a story in the local news a few years ago. A girl named Mia. She had a boyfriend. They were in love. But something bad happened." My heart started to beat fast. "What happened?" I asked. Sophie looked down. "She died," she said softly. "In a car crash. It was very sad. She was young. Only 25, I think. Her boyfriend was driving the car, but they said it was an accident." I felt like the world stopped for a second. A car crash. A young girl. A boyfriend. My hands started to shake. I asked, "Was the boyfriend's name Daniel?" Sophie looked at me. "I don't remember," she said. "But I can check." She took out her phone and searched for the story. After a few minutes, she showed me the screen. I saw the picture from the news. It was the same photo I saw in the cupboard. The girl in the photo was Mia. And next to her, with his arm around her, was Daniel. I stared at the screen. I couldn't speak. I felt cold. My fingers were stiff. My lips were dry. I whispered, "It's him." Sophie looked worried. "Emma, are you okay?" I shook my head. "No," I said. "I don't think I am." On the way home, I kept thinking, Mia died in a car crash. Daniel was the driver. But why had he never told me? Why hide it? Why act like she never existed? When I got home, Daniel was already there. He was watching TV. I sat down across from him. I looked at his face. I thought about how he once smiled at me, how he once held my hand, but now I only felt fear. I asked him again, "Who was Mia to you?" He turned off the TV. He looked at me. He was silent for a moment. Then he said, "She was my fiancée." I sat still. I didn't move. "You were going to marry her?" I asked. He nodded. "Yes," he said. "We were engaged. She was the love of my life. But she died, and I lost everything." I didn't know what to say. I felt sorry for him. I really did. But then I asked, "Why didn't you tell me?" His face changed. His eyes became dark. He stood up and walked to the window. "Because I didn't want to talk about her," he said. "I didn't want to remember." Then he turned to me. His voice was cold. "But you remind me of her." I didn't understand. I looked at him, confused. "What do you mean?" I asked. He took a deep breath. "You look like her. Your face, your voice, even your smile. At first, I didn't plan anything. I just wanted to forget her. But when I saw you at the office, I felt angry." "Angry?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "Angry at life, angry at love, angry that she died and I was left alone. You reminded me of her. And I wanted to feel something again, so I came back. I talked to you, I smiled, I made you fall in love." I felt like the floor was moving under my feet. "So, you used me?" I asked. My voice was small. Daniel didn't answer. I stood up. "Did you marry me because you loved me?" I asked again. He didn't look at me. "No," he said. That one word broke me. I felt my knees go weak. I sat back down on the sofa. My eyes were full of tears, but I didn't cry. Not yet. I needed to know the truth. Live it. "So why did you marry me?" I asked. Daniel looked at me. His face was full of pain, but his words were sharp. "Because I wanted to punish myself, and maybe punish you too. I thought if I stayed with you, I would forget her. But I couldn't. I see her in you every day, and it hurts." I closed my eyes. I wanted to disappear. He married me, not for love, but for pain. He wanted to feel again, and I was the one he chose to hurt. And hurt with. "Do you hate me?" I asked. He looked at me. "No," he said. "I hate myself." That night we didn't speak again. He slept on the sofa. I locked the bedroom door. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. My heart was broken. I felt like a fool. I gave him my love, my trust. my life. And all along, he was thinking of someone else. In the morning, he had already left. I didn't know where he went. I didn't care. I packed a small bag. I called my mother. "I'm coming home," I said. When I arrived, she saw my face and hugged me. I didn't speak. I just cried. Finally, the tears came. I cried for hours. My mother stayed beside me. She didn't ask questions. She just let me cry. That week, I didn't go back to the city. Daniel called, but I didn't answer. He sent messages, but I didn't read them. I needed time. I needed space. I needed to remember who I was before I met him. I went for long walks. I sat by the river. I listened to the birds. Slowly, I started to feel better. I started to breathe again. But one morning, Daniel came to my parents' house. He stood at the door. My mother called me. I didn't want to see him, but I went outside. He looked tired. His eyes were red. "I'm sorry," he said. "I was angry. I was lost. I didn't mean to hurt you." I looked at him. I felt sad, but not for me. For him. "You didn't just hurt me," I said. "You hurt yourself. You took your pain and gave it to me. That's not love. That's revenge." He didn't say anything. I think he knew I was right. "I loved you, Daniel," I said. "But now I have to love myself more." He nodded slowly. "I understand," he said. Then he turned and walked away. After Daniel left, I stood at the door for a long time. I watched him walk down the road, slowly, like a man with no place to go. I felt a heavy silence around me. It was not just the end of a visit. It was the end of something bigger. It was the end of my marriage. In the days after, I stayed with my parents. My mother made tea for me every morning. My father didn't say much, but he always gave me a soft smile. I didn't tell them every detail, but they understood something had broken inside me. I started to help my mother in the kitchen. I helped my father in the garden. It was simple work, but it helped me. It kept my hands busy and gave my mind some rest. One evening, I sat by the window. The sun was going down. The sky turned orange and pink. I thought about the last year, how fast everything changed, how I met Daniel, how I married him, how I left everything for him, and how I came back, not as a wife, but as a woman trying to heal. I still remembered the way Daniel looked at me when we first met. That smile, that kindness. It felt real. Maybe it was real for a moment. But pain changed him, and I became part of that pain. One day, Sophie came to visit. She brought snacks and gave me a big hug. We sat in my old room and talked. I told her the rest of the story. She listened and held my hand. "Emma," she said, "this is not your fault." "But I let him in," I said. "I gave him everything." "Yes," she said, "because you loved him, and love is never wrong. His lies were wrong, not your love." Her words stayed with me. I thought about them the next morning. I stood in front of the mirror and looked at myself. I was not the same girl who left this house 1 year ago. That girl believed in love. She believed in a man's words. She believed in happy endings. The woman in the mirror now, she was different. She still believed in love, but now she also believed in herself. A few weeks later, Daniel sent a letter. I didn't want to read it, but I did. It was short. He wrote that he had started therapy. He was trying to heal from the past. He said he was sorry for everything. He said he didn't expect my forgiveness. He just wanted me to know he was trying. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I did not hate him. I felt sad for him, but I could not go back to that life. I had already walked away, and this time I was not turning around. Slowly, I started working again. I found a part-time job in a small bookstore. It was quiet and peaceful. The people there were kind. I liked the smell of old books and fresh coffee. I smiled more. I laughed sometimes. Life was still hard, but it was mine again. One morning at the bookstore, I saw a man looking at the same book I liked. He smiled and said, "Good choice." I smiled back. We talked for a while. His name was Adam. He was soft-spoken and kind. He asked if I wanted to get coffee sometime. I said, "Maybe." That was all. I was not ready for love again. Not yet. But I was not afraid of it either. One Sunday, I sat with my mother on the porch. We watched the birds in the tree. She looked at me and said, "You're stronger now." I nodded. "It still hurts," I said. She held my hand. "I know, but you are healing. And healing is slow, but it's real." That night I wrote in my journal, not a list, not a letter, just thoughts. I wrote, I loved a man who didn't love me the right way, but I walked away, and that means something. Months passed. The city felt like a far memory. Daniel never came back. I didn't want him to. I hoped he found peace. I hoped he found a way to live without hurting others. But he was no longer part of my story. 1 year after I came home, I walked by the river. The wind was soft. The water was calm. I looked up at the sky and smiled. I had survived. I was not the same woman anymore. And that was a good thing. We all go through hard times, but stories like this can help us feel seen. Thank you for watching, and come back for more real moments.